Hey everybody, this is Boris from Syllabite Stake Pool, and today I wanted to demonstrate a new product that is coming, which is Optim Finance. They're releasing SPO bonds, and this is something stake pool operators can use. I know in the past, for example, some stake pool operators relied on investors for their pledge. And sometimes it's tricky because you really have to trust that investor, because if they pledge into your pool and they pull out that money, that ADA from your pool, and don't let you know ahead of time, then what's going to happen is you're going to stop minting blocks. Basically, your pool will not operate under the pledge. So it's important when you do find investors, to pledge into your pool, that you trust that they're not going to just randomly pull out their ADA. Now, with this product, I think it's a bit safer alternative because this runs with a smart contract. So if you issue a bond and you have investors, and by the way, it's multiple investors. You can have multiple investors invest into the bond there. Basically, as long as you keep paying your interest, your pledge will remain. That 1 million ADA that you're going to get or whatever from this bond will remain, and you can be confident that it's just not going to disappear overnight. So, anyways, I just wanted to show you how this works and how to get your bond created. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So for this demo, we're going to use our pool, of course, Syllabite, and we are going to use Nami Wallet. There is an issue with Eternal right now, so hopefully it'll get fixed soon. I'm not sure if it's the Eternal team or Optim team that has to fix it, but there is an issue, just so you know. However, Nami works great. So with Nami, first thing we're going to do, now this is on a pre-production network. So I'm going to go to network and make sure that network is indeed on pre-production. There it is. And another thing I like to do when I work with smart contracts is to set the collateral ahead of time. We might not need it right away, but it's good to have the collateral there to execute it in the future. All right, collateral added. Okay, so now we have our collateral, which will get processed here in a minute. But let's go ahead and proceed with the bond creation here. So we're going to connect our Nami wallets to the site. As you can see, now we can see our balance. It hasn't updated yet. Okay, there you go. Now the internal transaction has been processed for the collateral. There you go. You can see that it updated. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to issue bond. Okay. This is for the stake pool operators, so that you can issue your bond for your stake pool. Now, by default, this SPO pub key, all right, so this is the stake key of, by default, this is the stake key of the wallet that is connected right now. However, in this case, that's not what I want to do, because this wallet actually is not even staked into that pool. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this with the stake key of the actual owner wallet of the pool here. So if you go to our pool under about owners, there's a stake key. And I'm just going to copy that. There you go. All right. Just verify it's correct. Yep. Looks good. Okay, so now this is a test, so this is just only for 2 epochs, but in the future, this is going to be 1 year. And we're going to select 1 million. This is what we're looking for. And I don't know, let's set it to 5%. So it looks more attractive to investors. And hopefully they'll invest into our bond. And then all you have to do is you basically issue bond. Once you verify all your settings are correct, you issue the bond. Now, as part of the process, so this bond gets divided into several pieces, and as part of the process is, I believe it's 10,000 actually. Part of the process that you have to invest into your own bond, at least one of the 10,000. And apparently this is a technical limitation that has something to do with how the contract is made. So just heads up, be ready to invest into your own bond, at least one out of 10,000 pieces. Or I should say equity tokens. All right, so looks like this is good to go. Let's take a look at our wallet. See if we got our token. Yes. So as you can see, you have this equity token, and then you also have this borrower token. So these have different use cases. So the equity is basically, you know, how much of the bond you own, right? So currently we only have one out of 10,000. However, if you're an investor, you know, maybe you'll have all of 10,000 or 9,000 here. And this is a token that will let you change that SPO key, the stake key, in the future. So if you wanted to change maybe you made a mistake or something and you wanted to change it, you can do that as long as you hold the token. And that's about it. Now we wait for somebody to invest into our bond. All right. So looks like our bond has now been verified, and I mean, all it does, it adds this this name into it, and the Optim team actually does that. I don't think there's a requirement to verify this bond. However, it does give you that nice name, I guess, for marketing purposes, so people know who it is. Now, with there's one thing that I wanted to show you that I kind of skipped when I created the bond, and I just wanted to explain this interest here, first of all. So as you saw in the previous, when I actually created this bond, I select 5%. Now, this is not what the lenders will get. This is what you pay as the SPO, right? If you click on lender, this is actually the interest rate that you're advertising to lenders. So if you want to advertise 5%, well, then you better set it to 5% from here. And as a borrower, you actually have to pay more, 5.16%. And it even explains it here, that 97% of the interest goes to the lender and 3% goes to Optim for the service. And also, one thing to note is you don't actually get this 1 million ADA into your wallet. What you're doing is you're only borrowing the staking rights of that wallet. It actually uses something called Franken address, right? So I know a lot of people are freaking out about Franken addresses and how there's some platforms that were tricked with this Franken address, and were able to withdraw tokens and things like that because the developers were not checking things properly and making some assumptions. So Franken address is not, it's nothing bad. I mean, in fact, SPOs used to actually do this in the past with investors, right? Let's say you have an investor that wants to invest into your, as a pledge into your pool, but maybe the investor doesn't want to give you his 1 million ADA, right? Maybe, I mean, he trusts you, but maybe not that much. So what SPOs did is they basically showed investors how to generate these Franken addresses so that the payment part they have control over, but the staking rights part they let the SPOs borrow that. So that's why it's called the Franken address, right? The staking part and the payment part don't match the same wallet. And with this, basically, when you have this 1 million bond, you basically get the stake rewards for that 1 million, right? So you get the stake rewards. Let's say you get 4%, right? Let's say your pool is able to get around 4% stake rewards. Then you pay 5.16%. So basically your cost to borrow is only the difference of that, right? So 1.16% in this case. So you don't actually have to pay the whole 5.16% because, well, you do, but you also get the stake rewards for that 1 million, so it balances out. You only pay like 1.16. And the other thing that you should also be aware is when you issue a bond, right, you actually have to pay interest in advance, right? So it's actually several months in advance, and you have to make sure that you have that ADA ready to go before you try to advertise your bond, because you will be expected to pay the interest ahead of time. And after that, basically, you will have to continue paying the interest as the time progresses to keep the bond, right? You don't have to pay the interest for the whole year. However, if you stop paying interest, you're not going to keep that bond, right? And again, at the end of the close, the investors will get their interest back. And another thing I wanted to show you is, from the investor's perspective, is how to fund the bond. So you see, it's already been funded a little bit here. There's 40K added. And I actually added 10K myself already, but I'm going to add a little bit more just to show you how it works. So, and yes, you can obviously invest into your own bond if you want. So here's the pool, and I'm going to say that I want to deposit into the pool. And this slider basically tells me how many of the equity tokens I'm going to get. Now this is right now obviously limited because the test ADA in our wallet is only 4,200. So if I had over 1 million test ADA here, then I would be able to, probably get like 9,000 equity tokens plus. But because I don't have the data, I can't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'll just invest 3,000 more, and I'm going to get 30 more of the equity tokens. There you go. Okay, now we can check our NAMI wallets. There you go. So now if we go into our tokens, we have 131 of these equity tokens out of the 10,000. Now remember, we started with 1 because that was the minimum amount for you to be able to create the bond. Then I added 100 more, and we just recently added 30 more here. So now we have 131 out of the 10,000 equity tokens for this bond, which means we'll get the interest, right? So the owners of the equity tokens will get the interest at the end. And yeah, that's about it. I'll make another video once this actually gets fully funded. And if you have some pre-production test data, please do fund our bond so we can test this out. Just go to preprod.optim.finance and You'll see Syllabite here, and just buy the bond, and let's get it funded and test it out. Thanks a lot.